Hey, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this live chat today with myself and the beautiful Sofia from Swara Yoga School. We're here today to talk to you a little bit about women's health, the 3V connection, and also share a little bit about our upcoming training in Spain. So I'd love to introduce my dear sister, Sofia, who I am having the privilege of working with. Sofia, I love you so much. Will you tell us about you and this women's training?
Francie, so good to see you here. And first of all, so good that you are part of this project, which you were already a couple of years ago when you just spontaneously came to visit. And it just happened that I was in going to start the women's health and yoga training, and having you there that week, and all the joy you brought, all the music, all the support you brought me, I was like, okay, whenever I'm going to teach this again, she needs to be here. And so I'm like really happy that we're doing this together, and I think we're going to do much more things together. But anyway, let me introduce who I am. So I'm Sofia. I'm director of Swara Yoga School. I wrote this program, and every year is time to upgrade, refine, yes, because as we mature every decade, I feel that I have more things to share. And I'm also a continuous student, so there's so many I want to bring into the course this year, and especially also bringing in your work that you do with vocal activation, and how is that connected to feminine expression and releasing some of the limitations, blocks that we have that sometimes is personal, but it's also collective and ancestral and lineage based. I really adore the work that you're doing, and I see the benefits of it. I can't wait to have you in Spain.
I can't wait to be with you. I am by just the way that you work in such a seasonal way. To me, you are the embodiment of feminine leadership, because you lead from this place of receptivity and deep listening, and you're slow and present, and you're very much a yin to my yang. And I love also the way that you bring the Chinese wisdom into your trainings. Can you tell us a little bit about how Chinese medicine fits into this training?
Yeah, so my way through Chinese medicine, I'm not a Chinese medicine doctor, but I studied a lot of the system in the 3-year course that I did on macrobiotics, cooking, and nutrition. That it's all 5-element based, meridian based, and seasonally based. And it has like some parallels to Ayurveda as well, because Ayurveda also works with the elements and with the seasonal wisdom. And so what I started to see is that our own menstrual cycle follows this seasonal wisdom, but instead of in a full year calendar, is more like in a 1 month or 28 days or 26 days, whatever is the cycle of the woman. And started bringing these practices and principles, so we can start attuning our cycle and understanding that cycle has very 4 phases that affect how we are and how we feel, and then consequently how we interact with the environment and with the world. And I think any woman can relate that, how she feels in the first day after her menstruation finishes, and how she feels in the day before her next menstruation is a completely different experience. And so our work with this course is to, provide the tools, but also the embodied experience of what is that, and allow. I think a lot of the medicine of this course is to allow what it is, which I think often we don't. So I like to create spaces where that is possible for the feminine.
and coming together as women in circle and living the wisdom of the cycles is so transformative just in and of itself.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember when I first learned about cyclical wisdom and the 4 seasons of the menstrual cycle, it instantly changed my life because it was like there was this common sense that wasn't at all common. And
Yeah,
if we learn how to align our lives, even this live, for example, you know, I'm in the spring and summer of my cycle. I wouldn't schedule this live in the autumn or winter. I know
yeah,
myself
yeah.
at this stage. And for me to be able to be out there and expressing myself in a way that I feel I can be received and seen, it has to be in the first part of my cycle. And so why is it that you think that feminine wisdom is so important to be attuning to be aligning to be learning about, to be dedicating time and energy to studying?
Well, there's several reasons, I guess, like what is talked about a lot these days in these circles of women's circles, this kind of work, and definitely women are doing a lot of this work beyond yoga. Like I talk with friends that run psychology coaching programs, and it's all women joining in. And I think there's a huge need and of creating these spaces where we can talk about our nature more, we can talk about our essence more, simply because society is very organized around male principles and male schedules and rhythms, male rhythms, and the female rhythm is very different than the male rhythm. And it's not better, it's not worse, it's complementary. This is how I see it. I don't think the masculine energy is bad. I just think it's over dominant at the moment. And it's over dominant even inside our female bodies. And so this work is about reclaiming also the feminine rhythms and honor that, and don't see it as something that it's negative. For example, if I need to rest or if you need to rest, we shouldn't feel guilty because we need to rest more than a man need to rest. Our bodies work different. Our hormonal system is all wired in a different way. And we have a monthly cycle. In this more energetic language, it's very connected to the moon cycle, as the masculine is more connected with the solar cycle. It's a huge cycle of a full year. The woman is more like monthly. So we're different. We're not the same. We're human beings. We're all the same human beings, but wired very differently in men and women. My intention with these programs is really to educate first, because knowledge is power. You need to know what's happening, otherwise you're lost in the sauce. So and then you attune and listen, because that's a big part of attuning to the feminine energy, is to learn to listen yourself, the environment, what's around you, and then you embody, you apply what you learn. And some things that you will learn, you maybe doesn't make sense, you don't need, and some things you need and it will make sense to you, so you go with that. And that's kind of my take on the educational part. It's like, here's a buffet of experience, practices, knowledge. What does make sense to you? And so, and then we explore from there.
I love that. And just something that you said just then, you said two things that I'm really reflecting on. One, you said, you know, if we're not feeling up for it, it's important that we don't push ourselves or feel guilty if we're not in the full energy. And something deeply relaxed inside of me when you said that. And this is a lot of what I'm working with in terms of the voice. And it's this permission to be compassionate with ourselves, permission to let ourselves express and take up space, permission to follow our authenticity and our internal truth rather than aligning or attuning to expectations from the outer world, really aligning and attuning to the inner rhythms first. And not from a level of bypassing responsibilities, but on the level of just being authentic. And a big part of my own personal journey, as why I'm coming to the training, is this journey of vocal healing. And I love that word attunement, because it's tuning like an instrument, right? Every time I play the guitar, I have to tune the guitar. And same with the body mind. We have to find a frequency that we want to align to. We breathe, we do yoga, we do all of these practices to attune ourselves so that we can listen to the teacher within, which is the heart, which is this inner essence of our soul. And giving ourselves permission to listen to ourselves, attuning ourselves so that we can hear the inner voice. This is when healing can happen. Healing can only happen when we are feeling safe and connected and relaxed. And this is one of the reasons I love these gatherings of women. You know, it's just such a safe place to be vulnerable, to be open, to be authentic.
I wanted to add just a word to what you said, which is supported. And the fact that we do it together gives that quality of support that I think it's so important that women experience from other women as well. And I wanted to ask you, like, one of the big things about the work that you bring is there is that healing aspect, and that aspect of finding our expression and, you know, conquering the fears, like we've seen in the course we did a couple of years ago, where, you know, some of the women in the first round would get very fearful and almost like their voice would stop, and round by round they would build this confidence to express. And apart from that, the thing that I saw, and this is what I wanted to ask you in that process, was the joy that comes after you do the work. And so I would like to ask you more about that. How can we use this practice to access more joy? Because self-work is also hard work, and sometimes it's not joyful at all. So how do we use vocal activation to access more joy in our bodies, in our lives?
I'm going to take a couple steps back, and then I'm going to weave the answer there. But our true nature is joy, right? That is who we are at the essence. Through the challenges and tribulations of life, the different traumas, the disappointments, all of the ways that we try to find belonging, the ways that we kind of start to suppress ourselves, that joy begins to get suppressed or covered up, more density, right? Like, so joy is that essence of lightness, and density is what happens when life comes in. And so a big part of the journey of vocal activation is giving the permission, whatever's in the heart, to come up and out. Because what's arising in the heart, the energy of the heart, the value of the heart, is that it wants to come up and out. But when we're trying to fit in or belong, or when we're worried about what other people think, or we have this sense of being judged, when we have a lot of self-doubt, we play small, then that energy of the heart gets suppressed and pushed down. And when that energy gets pushed down, it becomes dis-ease and illness. So there's a little dichotomy that I talk about in vocal activation, and that is the opposites of resonance and resistance. And resistance is the doorway to the magic, right? Like, the magic is outside of the comfort zone. So whatever it is that you're resisting in life, whatever it is that's challenging you, whatever it is that's presenting you, and you're feeling this like maybe frustrated energy or emotional energy, you know, our tendency when we have that sense of resistance is to go into addiction, to go into escapism, to go into coping behaviors that are designed initially to protect us, but that over our lifetime, we continue to go into those patterns and they can really cause dis-ease. So at first, when we start to activate the voice, it can be incredibly emotional. Yeah. Because that energy is finally coming up and coming out, and the tightness here and the stuckness here starts to get released. And after that kind of flow is turned on, we start to move into that space of joy, connection. And so the word there is resonance. So when we're resonating, we're vibrating at this higher frequency, we're feeling this harmony and this joy. So through the darkness is how we get to the light, right? Through the resistance is how we get to resonance and connection. The way that I work with it, the way that I've been practicing and studying with it, it is intrinsically a trauma resolution practice, a way for us to go into difficult emotions, to go into resistance. And it's also intrinsically a joy practice, because if we want to be joyful in life, then we have to practice joy.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
It's not as obvious as it almost seems to be. Like, yeah, you know, I think oftentimes we feel guilty when we're having fun, like indulgence is some kind of negative thing. And I'm really on a mission to rewrite that. I think fun is so important. Resonance, connection, joy, these are really important things to cultivate, to actively have a discipline around cultivating.
Yeah. Absolutely. And also, as you were saying that, one of the things that I was connecting here, the dots, is the epidemic of thyroid issues that affect mainly women. And again, coming back to that word of attunement, there's a lot of underactive thyroid, overactive thyroid, and attunement is exactly that middle path. So that everything works properly, but it does require some of that work. So I'm sure that the vocal activation also works on stabilizing thyroid issues just by regulating the energy of the throat chakra. And then the next thing I wanted to ask you is, how does the throat connect to the womb?
Yeah, beautiful question. And it is in, you know, everything that you just said, the thyroid, the there's a deep interconnection between the physical, the spiritual, the mental, and the emotional. We know that. So too with the throat. So if you're having thyroid issues, if you're losing your voice a lot, if you're having chronic throat problems, or you're having issues here, then often it is a sign that there's challenges in the psychology relating to self-worth and authenticity and living your truth and being attuned. And one of the ways that I've really learned to work with this physical and energetic connection is understanding the role of the nervous system with the voice. So as I started to heal my voice, I learned, okay, what happens when we go into stress? What happens when we go into fight flight? Well, on a really simple level, our jaw clenches. We get ready for that fight. Our shoulders come up by our ears. We get really tight in here. Our heart constricts, our arms shorten, our hips tighten, right? Yeah. And the womb, or the vagina, and the throat are literal mirrors. So if you take your hands like this and put your hands together, this distance is actually the measurement of your throat, and it's actually the measurement of the womb. So there's perfect geometry in the body. The throat and the vagina, the voice and the vagina, are both the entry points from the outer world to the inner world, the inner world to the outer world within our body. They're both centers of expression, and they're both centers of communication, of pleasure, of self-actualization, of empowerment. If you have constriction in one, likely there's constriction in other. And the more you balance and open one, the more you're balancing and opening the other. And the more you've got the voice and the womb working together in connection with the vagus nerve. So this is the 3V connection: the voice, the vagus nerve, and the vagina. The vagus nerve is the largest cranial nerve in the body, and it's like a muscle in that the more toned it is, the more toned the vagus nerve is, the more resilient you can be, the quicker that you can bounce back from adversity and challenge. The more you tone the vagus nerve, the more you're down regulating the nervous system from stress. So when we go into stress and our jaw tightens and our throat closes up and our womb closes because we're in that protection mode, the more we can ensure that our nervous system is strong and resilient, the more we can relax and soften more easily and come back into that balanced state. And we can do that really simply with humming, with oming, with exercises, with breathing, with just slowing down. Yeah. So this is just a little bit about that relationship, but it's the more I feel into it, the more I sing from my root chakra all the way up, the more I let that energy circulate, the more resilient my nervous system is feeling, the more open I am to sing, the more soft my heart is. So this maybe is just kind of like esoteric, but it's also physical, and it's also really profound how it manifests in our life: open voice and a balanced womb.
Yes. And also, if sometimes, like you said, people think, oh, it's too esoteric because it's like it's energy. Well, the vagus nerve is pretty physiological and connects to everything from our gut to a lot of the organs in our abdominal cavity. I wanted to use that to back up a little bit to the basis of this course in terms of experience. There's a lot of different theories we're going to explore during the course. So the 5-element system is at the basis of it. The internal seasons is at the basis of it. But when it comes to the experience and the practices, the intention is very simple. In order to heal and regenerate the body and find balance in our hormones as we go through different changes, being the changes of just the menstrual cycle, or being the changes of now your hormones are all going to change because you're pregnant, or your hormones are about to change because you're entering perimenopause or you entering menopause. Whatever is the internal and external environment, you have to find a way and find practices that help you tune into this rest and digest mode to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. And the vagus nerve is part of the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, my intention with this practice is that women find their own way and their own practices, and first of all, to listen. So the skills also to, you need to slow down in order to listen well. And so is to how to feel themselves and feel, okay, I'm a little bit too stressed today, or I'm about to have my menstruation and I'm like wired. And so how can I tune into this parasympathetic response, into toning my vagus nerve so my digestion works better, my cycles work better, I don't have neck pain and all this tension here. And so this is so important for me. If you take one thing out of the course, is that you learn how to listen the language of your nervous system, and then how to use the practices to start to rest and digest. Because a lot of the imbalances that we see on a hormonal level, they're not provoked because you have too much parasympathetic activation. It's the opposite. You have too much sympathetic activation. You have too much cortisol in your body running as like the stress hormone. And your brain is often producing that because it senses that the environment on the outside is stressful. So then we need to start listening and developing the skills to listen to, again, the word comes to attune. That's attune, to listen and see, okay, I can do this simple practice. It's not about changing, like if you think energy is too esoteric, is to change your nervous system. If you're about to do, for example, public speaking, and you're all nervous, you can pick one of your exercises and in 1 minute you can change that quick. And so this is what we want. We don't want like to now study for years and years on end on how to regulate my nervous system. No, I want to learn how to tune in, to feel, to learn to slow down. Yeah. And then back that up with practices that support that, and not just practices, and also other women, because co-regulation is so important.
Oh, absolutely.
It's
Most
not
of our
regulation. You need to co-regulate, and that's why singing in circle, learning in circle, sharing in circle has such a profound healing impact. And that's why we're doing what we're doing.
Now, I was going to say, you know, one of the things that I really learned, I really understood from the training I did last year with Gabor Mate, the Compassionate Inquiry course, was that most of our trauma is from relationship, right? It's as a result of things that happen in relationship. And most of our healing happens in relationship, in safe spaces. And, you know, for a very long time, I can do this on my own. I can read all the books and it's just not the case. That in and of itself is a trauma response.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to get to share my daily resonance ritual with all of our students so that they have something really practical and tangible that they can come back to again and again. So I've got some really awesome gems in store for that. And I think for me with this course, yes, it's a 50-hour training. So if you're a yoga teacher, you can get certified. You can put us on your resume. I've been teaching yoga for 15 years. How long have you been teaching? Almost right. Yeah, we've been in the game for a while, hundreds of hours of, I mean, both Sofia and I are deeply students. So we do want to satisfy that aspect of certification that a lot of teachers want to have or feel like they need the credibility with. And yet for me, what's most important is just embodied experience, embodied understanding of what wholeness feels like, not just the relentless healing journey, but actually to experience wholeness with sisters in a circle through this wisdom, through this knowledge and understanding, through the resources that we're creating to support. And yeah, that's for me what's really alive right now, is coming together as women, with women, empowering female leadership, empowering women to understand themselves and to heal themselves and to come together in community to heal and support each other. Sofia,
So,
I did get some questions submitted about our training, so I'm going to run through a couple of them.
yes.
So is there an age limit, and do you need to be a yoga teacher?
There's no age limit, and you don't need to be a yoga teacher. You need to move, you need to breathe. And even if you have injuries, I'm a yoga therapist, I can work with that and give you a specific practice, but no, there's no age limit.
Amazing. What can I do with this course? Which areas can I work with?
Oh, lots of different things, and this is based on actually what the students of the course have been doing with it. Obviously, you're going to learn methodology that you can teach yoga, like asana, pranayama, meditation, all around these topics of women's health. And that would be, I would say, the first thing. Like, you can teach yoga classes that are more specific to women. You can run circles with women. You can do community work as well. I think that's very important. It's something that I'm actually looking into doing here in Portugal, because some of my friends work in these organizations in more unprivileged neighborhoods in Lisbon. And I think it's really important to bring this kind of work to different demographics.
Totally.
So I think that's something very helpful. You can work with this in organizations. I've done that in companies. I was part of designing a policy for a Berlin-based company that women have like a 1 day free a month paid to, we call it the active resting day, for having their menstruation, and they can choose. Some women, you know, it's the day before the menstruation that actually they need a pause, and the company lets women choose whatever day, and they don't have to justify. They all simply send Anjali Mudra to the line manager, and they can take the day off. Oh, you can be involved in policy. You can design retreats for companies. You can design for organizations. You can run your women's circle. Some of the women that come, they're not exactly yoga teachers, but they work with women, and they simply want to learn the art of facilitating a gathering, a circle, something.
I'm going to interrupt and just share that part of the work that I share is also learning about how to be a trauma-informed space holder, how to hold really engaging, joyful circles, and how to integrate mantra and music into your work, into your facilitation. One last question is, tell us about the farm. Tell us about where we're going, this epic, beautiful eco farm in Andalusia.
We're going to, you know, for like almost a decade, I spent a lot of time of that decade in India.
Yeah.
And some of the places I used to go a lot to the mountains, to the Himalayas, to the foothills of the Himalayas, deep in the Himalayas, Dharamshala, Manali, Rishikesh, all these places. And then when I came to the farm in Spain, I was like, this is my little European version. That's why I love it. It's so quiet there. So it's a place where I've been running my trainings for the last kind of 10 years, except during COVID, those 2 years. It's a beautiful place, a simple place. It's been an ecological farm since the last 20 years. It was one of the first places in Spain to be certified organic. And I think there's some of those qualities like are translated in this, like, for example, the soil never had chemicals in it. And that is so rare these days. A lot of the water comes from the Sierra Nevada glacier water that feeds all the produce. And it's a family owned place, and they're kind of became a little bit my Spanish family too. I'm very connected with the family that runs it. And what I like the most is to take people there, because even the journey there, it's like a 25-minute up the mountain. That process is so interesting, to go up the mountain. You really don't want to leave because it's so quiet, it's so peaceful. I feel like meditation there becomes so effortless. It's kind of like the internal noise just goes down substantially. And then we have a beautiful shala with glass windows surrounded by the mountains. So, and the great food and the people and the animals. There's lots of different animals, cats, dogs, peacocks, lots of different birds. If you love birds, you can just watch lots of different also herbs. We're going to go on an herb walk when we do it. Lots of like medicinal herbs that grow wild in the region. And that's something I'm really into, especially like wild oregano. And I tell you, like buying oregano at the store is a challenge, because it's like,
the real deal.
You can't compare. And so it's a special place for me. I've taken a lot of groups there, but it's the first time we're doing the women's health training there. I'm so looking forward to bring this group of women there too.
Well, I'm so looking forward to get to come to this incredible farm that you've been talking about for years. And I'm so grateful to get the opportunity to work with you and connect with a group of women. So as we bring our live to a close, please feel welcome to send a message to me at pureflow.yoga or to Sofia at Swara Yoga, and we would love to support you. It is happening October 14th to 20th, so it's just around the corner. It's going to be a really beautiful adventure of the mind, body, spirit, and soul. We're going to sing together. We're going to learn. We're going to break bread together and just come together as a community of women in healing, in joy, in celebration, and in empowerment.
Yes.
So,
Aho.
yes. Anything else you want to say to close, beautiful Sofia?
I want to say thank you for making me do a live. We need friends to help us with this. I'm just very grateful that you want to share this journey with me. I always take myself into the learning process as well. And for me, this course is so special. It's always special, but this year, I've been so immersed into my own women's health and healing that I have so much to share. And I'm so looking forward to have that platform to share that. There's been so much learning for me this year in relation to that. And I just want to put myself into that. I'm teaching there, but we're all in a learning space with each other. That's what I'm looking forward to be there, to be nature, and to be with the people. I'm going to take care of myself, tune into myself, learn more, and share that with strangers. I think that's amazing. When I need to attune, I need to go somewhere and just be surrounded with support in being in food. I'm a foodie. It's very important to have amazing food around. So food, people, nature, and I think those are the ingredients for healing, for regulation, and for wholeness.
I'm so grateful too. I am so looking forward. It is such a gift to be able to take time from your everyday life, shift perspective, see something new, get yourself into a different rhythm, align to a rhythm that you know is supporting your health and well-being in community, in nature. So, Sofia, I will see you in just a couple weeks. I'm so excited. We are so blessed. What a life. And this is also helping me to realize part of my dream of just collaborating with international facilitators of the highest caliber, doing this incredible work of healing and awakening.
Because once we get going, it's like this is what we would talk off camera as well.
Exactly. So maybe some more lives, let's see. But in any event, thank you so much. And thank you for everybody who's tuned in, whether it's live or for the replay. We are super grateful for your presence.
Oh, can I something?
Yeah.
Can we do like a 30-second resonance to close our conversation?
So if it feels okay for you, just close down your eyes and bring your awareness to your throat chakra, to this center of attunement, communication, worthiness. And just deepen the breath there, softening the belly, softening the face. Let's just take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, let out a nice big sigh. This sighing is one of the most simple ways to tone that vagus nerve, to help to activate or deactivate the nervous system, to activate the parasympathetics. Let's do one more together like that. Big breath in. You can just notice how you feel right away. And to close out our session today, we're going to sing the seed sound of the throat chakra. So as we sing the sound of hum, each exhale, I invite you to visualize a blue light growing brighter and expanding. If it's available to you, you can also try, as you sing that song, hum, to send the energy all the way down from the voice, through the heart, the vagus nerve, all the way through to the vagina, the womb. If you're a man, you know, your root chakra. So we're going to sing the sound of hum 3 times. So just attune to presence, closing your eyes, finding your breath. Deep breath in.
Lovely.
Thank you for inviting me to share, Sofia.
Thank you. And yeah, and if you have questions, just contact us and join us in Spain.